Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we will be talking about a dangerous storm system that is taking shape right now across the Midwest, the upper plains, and into portions of the Northeast. Again, there will be some severe weather, there will be some heavy rain, there will be quite a bit of things to watch for. Some flooding as well, especially across many areas that have seen quite a bit of rain already. That's pretty intuitive, right? So we'll be going over all of that. There are some tornado watches posted for large metropolitans. There are quite a bit of things to watch for. Right now, at 3 o'clock recording this Central Standard Time, it is relatively calm. We aren't seeing much activity, but that will start kicking up, and that's why I'm making this video to warn you about this. Again, not to create panic or anxiety, just to warn you that there could be some nasty storms. Hopefully they aren't too bad, and again, this isn't anything historic, right? It's just something that happens pretty much on a yearly basis, at least several times a year. These type of events, if not more. Okay, without further ado, if you guys, before we get into this, would like to support this channel that I'm bringing this video to you through, consider subscribing. If you like this video, obviously don't just subscribe for no reason. And if you do enjoy it, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any comments or concerns, leave them down below. I get to most comments, unlike a lot of YouTubers that just abandon them. I answer pretty much all of them. All right, thank you, and let's get into this. So first off, I want to show you, as I mentioned, that there could be a tornado watch, right? Well, let's take a look at this. It's for the whole area of Chicago. So that is, in this area, there's probably close to 7-8 million people. A large chunk of the population is under a tornado watch. It's a relatively small tornado watch, really just, again, isolated for the northwestern Indiana and northeastern Illinois. So this is a tornado watch. I want to make this very clear. This is a watch, meaning that there aren't any tornadoes yet. There could be some, and there's a potential for it, heightened potential for it, which is why there's a watch. A tornado warning, which is, again, a warning, means that it's imminent. Time for you to take shelter and not go outside and start recording stuff with your phone, because that's unfortunately how many people lose their lives. Hopefully, we don't see any tornadoes that are capable of, taking someone's lives. But with such a large, metropolitan, flying debris is, it has a high chance of hitting something or someone. So again, just something to be on an eye on for. Notice there are some flood advisories. That's the other threat. As I was speaking of, has been a lot of rain, and there could be some more rain. So yeah, again, stay safe. Don't go through a flooded roadway. Turn around, don't drown, as the old saying goes, and it holds very true. I do want to say, it's not just the Illinois area or northwestern Indiana. Look at this, right? This is well out of the area of the tornado watch, but there are still severe thunderstorms, right? So let's take a look at that severe thunderstorm warning. Notice, mainly wind. There is some hail, though it's not severe enough to be to warrant itself a severe thunderstorm. It's mainly that wind threat. But again, torrential rainfall. There's some flooded roadways. That is not good. Again, turn around, don't drown. So let's take a quick glance now at the Storm Prediction Center. Notice we have two areas of slight risk of severe weather. That isn't awfully too high. However, I do want to say that just because it's a slight or an enhanced or even a marginal doesn't really undermine the severity of things, because a severe thunderstorm is a severe thunderstorm. They may not be the biggest, baddest severe thunderstorms. There's a chance for supercells with those tornadoes, but again, if a thunderstorm that's severe occurs, you will know, because there will be loud thunder, there will be heavy rain, strong winds. So, these different ratings, which I think, if you're into the weather, you know them. There's slight, enhanced, moderate, and high. They just basically show us how frequent and how many of the storms there could be that are severe, and the confidence that they have in them, and also how bad they could get. Slight, again, isn't the highest one up, so some people may look at that and be like, oh, it's not that bad. Again, a regular thunderstorm is already pretty powerful, let alone a severe one. So just please don't try undermining the impacts of a event where it's just like, especially over large metros. I do want to say this storm system is not going to be done tomorrow or today. Into tomorrow, notice, slight. So these are basically anywhere in that light green. That's where thunderstorms could occur. Again, a regular thunderstorm could be powerful by itself. Now, this is marginal, meaning a marginal threat for severe weather. This is slight. And once you get into an enhanced area of severe weather, that is the third highest out of 5. That is definitely a threat that should not be undermined, and it's definitely a threat that is rather potent, especially if it's like tomorrow across large cities. I mean, in Milwaukee, Madison, Detroit, Chicago, Indy, right? Aurora, Rockford, Columbus, Naperville, Kansas City. Those are large metros with potentially most of them having almost 500,000 people each. So, yeah. And then look at the slight. I mean, that is giant. That is a giant area tomorrow compared to today. So again, today's like day one, and again, this isn't meant to create panic, just for you folks to stay wary and alert, right? I do want to say, look at that. There's that tornado watch. Here's a discussion of what what may be their mesoscale discussion. You can definitely find it on this website. It's usually pretty wordy and pretty meteorologically filled with words that are sometimes hard to understand, but again, it is rather interesting. So notice there's a moderate threat for tornadoes. That is definitely not bad of a threat, and I should say it's definitely not good because you don't want tornadoes. EF2 plus, so the strong bad tornadoes, it's a pretty low threat. Severe wind, moderate. Severe hail, low for the winds as well. So generally, if you're gonna get a bad thunderstorm, please, again, stay safe. This isn't something to joke around with. Now, let's take a quick glance at the radar. Okay, so this is the radar I use. It's WGN, stationed from the Chicago area, so it's pretty, just a standard radar, right? And notice that if we were to take a look at Ohio, Kentucky, there aren't any severe thunderstorm risks for you, right? According to the Storm Prediction Center, that are, there are, but they're not the highest. Notice that they're just in the marginal. But again, if you get under any of these thunderstorms, maybe I have a viewer that's under one of these right now, across Bowling Green, just north into Glasgow, pushing towards London, Kentucky. These are very torrential rainmakers. They have some small hail. These can be pretty strong and pretty dangerous as well. And, these are way out of the risk of the more potent ones, which, again, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, it's relatively calm right now. There isn't anything, there isn't much going on right now. So that's why it's good time to make this video and make folks prepared for what's potentially could come. Notice there's that little line, and I'll show you on the models. There's going to be this little line segment that develops and pushes towards northern Illinois, Indiana, and there will be many other thunderstorms that develop across northern Michigan, maybe across Iowa, that won't be maybe as likely to become severe, but they could still, again, pack a punch, pack a threat that is pretty powerful. Look at that one right there through Detroit. Looks pretty small, but I guarantee you, if you live in Detroit, you got stuck under that, you are getting pounded by some pretty heavy rainfall. But again, hopefully there wasn't any damage, as they shouldn't have been really that severe. Well, again, it shouldn't have been. That's a kind of a crappy word to use because Mother Nature doesn't play by rules. Notice across the upper plains, there was another area of a slight risk. Look at that. Southern Canada, good news is they're seeing rain and they're in a drought, so they need that. But look at Brandon, what is this, Manitoba, about to see quite a bit of rain from that. You can see these storms are just firing up again. Some areas seeing much needed rainfall. It's not as widespread as it could be, but definitely a threat, and this will continue into the overnight hours. Thunderstorms popping up and firing ahead of this little mesoscale low that tomorrow this will be bringing the severe weather across the Midwest. So again, I call this just one storm system, but in reality there are many different pieces to this. But overall, it's gonna get finally pushed away by this large cold front towards towards Wednesday and Thursday, and that's going to mark the end of this system. Okay, I know you guys want to look at the weather models now, and I have been talking for a while, but I wanted to get that message out there. Let's take a look at the HER model. We're not going to take a look at the global models, as they don't really do a good job of high res. In the next 40 hours they show just large blobs of precip. Very useful tools for medium to long range, but not so much for the short range. And even these models right here, again, notice how they have every single little thunderstorm cell put out. They are often wrong, and sometimes they're wrong with the whole placement of these storms. Today they're pretty accurate, but some days, this could be 50 miles east, northwest, in any other direction that they could find. So yeah, if we were to take a look at this is 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I am recording this at 3 p.m. That is a pretty good representation. Notice they have that little cluster. In reality, it's a bit further towards the west, so that's already a difference. But regardless, notice what they do. They show this line forming into northern Illinois. Look at that. Right there into portions of northern Chicago, we have some nasty cells. Those are the ones that could be producing a tornado. Hopefully none of them produce a tornado, and that would be considered a bust, if you will, because they have the tornado watch, but in reality, that would be a win. Hopefully there are seriously no tornadoes out of that. The good news is a lot of these folks here, I know in my area, obviously I live in this area, so there will be some good and much needed rain. Unfortunately, hopefully the cost for that isn't too high. It's always the trade-off, unfortunately. Notice though, across Michigan, northern Michigan into southern Canada, there are storms as well. Each one of those could have strong winds, even some damaging hail, maybe even a tornado as well. Just because it's out of that more favored tornado threat in northern Illinois doesn't mean that there won't be any across Michigan, right, into portions of southern Canada. Now the threat is rather low. It's more likely for some damaging winds and whatnot, but definitely quite a bit of rain will fall from those, especially if you get a couple of them on top of each other. Notice, look at the North Dakota area. That's what we see right now, right? If you think that's active, wait, well, look what happens towards the evening. We see a line of storms, kind of disorganized, but definitely plowing through North Dakota into northwestern Minnesota. The good news is those folks are extremely quenched for rain. They need it so bad, and it would be awesome if they could pick some rain up, and they probably will with that, but hopefully they don't get damaged from those storms as well. And notice it's not as widespread in coverage as as it should be, right, for that drought kind of healing. But notice across southern Canada, they do pick up quite a bit of thunderstorms, quite a bit of cells, and again, that could all have damaging wind, hail, and hopefully it's not all too bad and brings more rain. Now, I do want to say, look, across Missouri, this is at this point late at night. This is at around 2 to 3 in the morning. Sorry, this is 11, but look what happens. At 2, 3 in the morning, we see some cells across St. Louis, maybe towards Indianapolis, maybe more towards Detroit. Look at them. They start blowing up there. And maybe across Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, some overnight cells. They don't look massive, but again, I have a feeling that some of them will be producing some bright lightning, right? Heavy rainfall, maybe some severe weather. So this is during the overnight hours. So stay safe, folks, as some of these could definitely catch folks off guard, especially during the night. And notice that during the day tomorrow, look what happens across Minnesota. We see large cells developing again, pretty much because of what's going on right now from the upper plains. That will be triggering storms tomorrow, again, causing that slight risk for storms. And look at that, boom, tomorrow. I mean, it could be a very large severe weather day tomorrow. Look at that, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, again, southern Wisconsin. Some folks across southern Wisconsin have just seen so much rain. It's truly stunning. 6, 7, 8 inches in some locations. I found one location in south central Wisconsin that got 9 inches of rain. So, if they get more rain, that's going to be pretty bad. The thunderstorm doesn't have to be bad, but all it takes is just a little bit more rain, and that could cause flooding, again, which is very, very dangerous. Notice Ohio, Indiana, right, Illinois, Wisconsin. I mean, that's a lot of activity. And look how they backbuild across Illinois, into Indiana, into Kentucky, into West Virginia. And then towards the morning hours of Wednesday, look, central Illinois, central Indiana, more and more storms developing. So, yes, there's a lot of stuff. And again, there's many clusters. I mean, look at that. If I were to go over each individual cluster, there'll be so much to cover. Look at that one right across St. Louis. That one probably will have severe weather. So yeah, the National Weather Service will be beyond busy in the next few days, and obviously the total accumulated precip will be very high. Obviously, the HERM model is favoring northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. This could move, and there will definitely be cells across Michigan, Ohio, Missouri that will be capable of producing 2 to 3 inches in an hour or two. Notice there are some rains up here, which is good. Not enough really to create much of a difference. Unfortunately, hopefully they do without causing too much damage. Again, quite a bit of rain here. There is some drought-stricken areas across, especially southern Wisconsin. They've been getting a lot of rain, so that's good. But again, some of this is just a bit too much. There have been areas in northern Illinois that have seen 6 already inches. Not 6, sorry, 3 to 4, and another 6 according to this model. That would be not good. All right, let's take a look at some more models in terms of their precipitation outlook and the radar. So this is the NAM 3KM, a decent model, I would say. Notice what it does today, shows that line way differently than the other models, and that's why I think it's a bit not as accurate. Notice it shows it way more vertically, right? And if you were to take a look at the orientation of this, it will most likely be west to east oriented, not north to south. Regardless, that's what it shows. Notice it does develop a cluster across Minnesota, which the HER model doesn't, so there are some differences. That could bring some rain tomorrow morning into the Iowa, Illinois area. Notice there are clusters across Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and into portions of Michigan. And as he pushes forward, we have that threat tomorrow, which the NAM doesn't show with this newest model, but it definitely shows that increased threat of storms into tomorrow, which actually it focuses further to the south rather than the north like the HER model. But again, I would not say this model has the best handle on this. FV3, a very, very good model. So let's take a glance at what it has to show. There is today's threat, and this is 5, 4, Again, showing again more of the her model type version of those storms. These are the ones that could be more dangerous, even though these look way bigger and way more bad on this simulation. Again, that's just goes to show you a lot of these could be dangerous outside of that zone, and it's hard to tell a danger of a storm just by looking at it. You have to dissect them and go deeper and see, what's the individual threat, which the storm prediction does a very good job of, which is why that you should listen to them. And notice though, these again, even though they're not tornado warned or severe weather warned, if they're approaching you, they could still have some very, very, very heavy rainfall. And yeah, notice that towards the evening today they died down, but it still goes on across the Ozarks into the bluegrass state of Kentucky, West Virginia. I will show you the Northeast in just a second. I know I have been focusing on the Midwest, and as we push this forward, notice that tomorrow this model does not show a lot of activity. Look at that. If you recall what the her model showed, right? Tons of activity across Illinois, Indiana. Look what this model shows. A little clusters across Wisconsin into Kansas, not much else. And it does show a very strong line of storms potentially into Wednesday across the UP, which again indicates that it's not done even into Wednesday. Now, let's take a look at some other areas of let's just take a look at the continental United States and focus on the RGEM. This is a decent model. It's the Canadian high res. I will show you the her model of the whole United States, the one that I showed you at the beginning, because I think that one has the best handle. So notice that's today. This is what it shows. Again, agreeing with a lot of the models, which is good. Notice there's that threat across the northern plains. This potentially develops into some sort of bow echo across Detroit, Michigan. Definitely a possibility. It dies down into the overnight today, right? But look at tomorrow. It does show that activity across Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and it shoves it all to the northeast. Look at that giant storm right there. That's the kind of the culprit of all of this, which will be bringing more showers even past Wednesday into Thursday and Friday. Look at that cold front right there. And that finally goes through and sweeps things. And that does start affecting portions of the Northeast, which I want to focus on. Take a look at the 18Z model and show you. So again, this is the threat today, right? Lots of storms across Michigan, the upper plains, which is why I was zoomed in on the Midwest, because that's where most of the activity will be going on. Though look at that, New Jersey potentially seeing some storms late today into early tomorrow. And this is what happens tomorrow. So this is Tuesday, right? Notice decent activity across Pennsylvania, New York. This looks tiny and not significant. If you get under one of those little bright color cells, you are going to get hammered. Let me tell you that much, right? And we can see that development across Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, into Michigan, into Kentucky, again focusing on the Midwest, but eventually does make its way into the Northeast, especially later on into Wednesday and Thursday. This model doesn't go out that far, but the NAM 12KM does, and well, with its most recent model run, it doesn't, but the one that's a bit older, you could see it shows activity even into Wednesday more across Illinois, Michigan, Indiana. So yeah, there could be definitely areas of severe flooding, but look at that right there. I know I'm jumping around a bit, but this is at this point Thursday, and we go into Friday, storms, showers, maybe not as robust as we saw them across the Midwest, but look at that. That's definitely still a concern. So Northeast a bit later than the Midwest, meaning maybe 1 or 2 delayed days, but Pennsylvania, they could be getting some cells, and this is a lot of a chain reaction forecast, meaning one little difference could mean a whole different outcome. So if you see more of a stronger cell today develop and kind of conceal into almost like a derecho-like event across Michigan, like the RGEM showed, that could definitely reach its way into Pennsylvania and New York. If that doesn't happen, well, then there's going to be different outcomes. So it's all very fluid. And let's take a look at this model's total accumulated precip. Notice focusing the Midwest, the Michigan, Wisconsin, but definitely showing chances into southern Canada and into portions of the Northeast. I do want to say the Southwest will be also getting impacted with rain, but that's from a completely different system. So some monsoons will also be going on at this time. And I know I should be covering everything at once, but it's hard, especially when it seems like this area is favored for the severe weather. Rather compared to the Southwest, which is just going to be dealing with that flood threat. But I do want to say regarding the Southwest, there is going to be again the flood threat, the monsoons. Thankfully, the heat is off from you, but it's look at that. Unfortunately, the Northwest, extreme heat warnings and watches, and look at that. Look at these heat advisories. That's not as bad as what we have up here, but that's definitely dangerous. And stay safe, as these advisories could still pack a punch. And if you were to go outside today in my area, it's just absolutely humid as heck. Look at this. Right now we actually do have a little tornado warning popping up right there across southern Wisconsin. So even as I'm recording this video, it's already starting. Does this mean there's a tornado on the ground? Not necessarily. You have to look at the warning and see. Flying debris will be dangerous, obviously. Oh, it's a damaging tornado. it's confirmed. So yes, if you were in this warning at this point, you would go downstairs and seek shelter. Now again, this isn't going to go on forever. This probably will die down before it even reaches much further into this county right here, which I don't know what it is. But yeah, definitely today's definitely a day to be severe weather aware, as it's looking more and more likely for a large severe weather outbreak across the northern Illinois, Indiana area. But again, many other areas will be infected as well. Hopefully not as much as some of the models are showing. I do want to quickly say before we wrap this video up that in the long range, the GFS model, which again I show almost every single video, this one I didn't, look what happens, right? So there's our cold front, which affects the Northeast probably to its peak significance across Friday. And once that cold front comes through, it pretty much clears the Midwest, that storm system. But there are new little waves that could be coming across similar areas. Look at that, the Midwest, the South. And then we start looking towards the tropics. Look at Florida right there. A lot of activity could be getting pushed towards. Maybe not a tropical disturbance by itself, though this model could be underestimating this, but a lot of moisture nonetheless, and that could work its way up into the northern plains, into the Midwest. Look at that right there. Days and days of repeated threats, and that's really good though, because they need that rain. And so definitely, just because this storm system's gone doesn't mean it will be calm. Unfortunately, the Northwest will be very dry. That's not good. That's very bad news. At least the Midwest will be getting some rain, and the Northeast will seem to be drying out as well, which is kind of a good thing. They haven't seen a lot of rain, but if you haven't been, then don't expect too much more. There's really some again with that cold front mainly, but look where it centers the rain: the South, the Midwest, the Southwest. And this is again kind of very, very abstract, very far out. And today's threat is something we should be more focusing on. But I know folks like to see what's coming out in the long range on this channel, so I still show it. So yeah. Right now, not much activity going on. I mean, yes, there are some showers and storms popping up across various areas, but they're not really concealed into this large line. They are developing quite significantly here across Michigan. Again, I don't think any of those are severe warned, but maybe they will be within time, and any one of those could produce large amounts of rain. Here's our line to watch. Again, nothing too nasty right now, but that will be blowing up. It's tearing through Rockford right now. Hopefully nothing too significant. And if you recall, there's our tornado warning right there, which that storm does not look good, right? I mean, it does not look strong. It just has a little bit of light to moderate rain. But again, these tornadoes can sometimes be awfully inauspicious. So stay safe, folks. And this is, by the way, I know I'm about to end this, but this is a perfect example of why these storms could be causing flooding. Look at that, across Rockford. It starts training to the west to east, right? It's not really north to south and pushing towards the east. Look at that, say Rockford right there. You're seeing very heavy rain at this point. You continue to see rain, and we see another storm developing just to the west of it, and that could continue the rain for even 20 to 30 minutes. That may not seem like a lot, but this rain right here is falling probably at ridiculous rates. I saw a thunderstorm today across my area earlier on. It was, I think the radar might still show it right there, and it was like little missiles falling out of the sky, the amount of the potency these thunderstorms have. So yeah, and again, a lot of these areas had already seen thunderstorms, and the second wave starting to show itself. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next episode. Stay safe. I do want to say across the South there will be also storms, just a bit more random and not as potentially severe. All right, stay safe. Thank you guys. See you on the next episode. Bye.